For today's entry, August the 22nd, don't sweat the small stuff. And the quotation is this: "It is essential for you to remember that the attention you give to any action should be in due proportion to its worth, for then you won't tire and give up if you aren't busying yourself with lesser things beyond what should be allowed." This comes from Meditations, Marcus Aurelius 4.32b. And the note is: in 1997, a psychotherapist named Richard Carlson published a book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, ... and it's all small stuff. It quickly became one of the fastest selling books of all times and spent years on the bestseller lists, ultimately selling millions of copies in many languages. Whether you read the book or not, Carlson's pithy articulation of this timeless idea is worth remembering. Even Cornelius Fronto, Marcus Aurelius's rhetoric teacher, would have thought it a superior way of expressing the wisdom his students attempted in the quote above. They both say the same thing: don't spend your time, the most valuable and least renewable of all your resources, on the things that don't matter. What about the things that don't matter, but you're absolutely obligated to do? Well, spend as little time and worry on them as possible. If you give things more time and energy than they deserve, they're no longer lesser things. You've made them important by the life you've spent on them. And sadly, you've made the important things, your family, your health, your true commitments, less so as a result of what you've stolen from them. All right, what can we learn from this? Don't sweat the small stuff. One thing we can ask ourselves is what are the small things? And I think that will differ for each person depending on the life that they have and what they take as important to them. But for example, small things, perhaps something that someone says to you, that you may not agree with. If somebody insults you, for example, or if somebody is rude to you, these things can often ruin our entire days if we allow them to. So I think one of the lessons that we can learn here is minimization. Not to be stable, not to be so swayed by things that are happening externally, which is of course one of the main teachings of Stoicism itself. If somebody, for example, is rude to you or insults you, this often says more about them. Maybe they're having a bad day and they found you in front of their path, and unfortunately you are now the one who they're taking this out on. What should you rather do in such a situation? You take it for what it is. That person was having a bad day. You can either A, choose to move on and forget about it, or you can choose to allow it to ruin your day as well, which makes, of course, no sense. Another example may be, say you make a mistake. Say you have done something that you shouldn't have done. You've said something that you should not have said, or you've conducted business in a way that was not to your liking. You've made a mistake. You can either decide to sweat that and, beat yourself up about it and, again, allow it to ruin your day, week, month, whatever. Or you can think about what you could have done better in such a situation, put it in your knowledge base, and the next time you're faced with a similar situation, you can act in a way that is in accordance with how you would actually like to act. So in that way, you can turn a bad situation or a mistake or a negative situation that you are not necessarily proud of or would not like to repeat, and you turn it into a positive, right? So if and when a situation like that or a similar situation happens, you know how to act. In these situations, though, it takes some reflection, right? You need to be able to reflect and learn from your mistakes in this example, so that if you're faced with it at a later date, you have the tools and the knowledge and the experience and the reflection to make a better decision next time. So don't sweat the small stuff. Figure out what the big stuff is for you, so you know what you should be focusing on. And next time you find yourself being worried about something or being affected by something, whether it's something that you've done or something that has occurred outside of your control or something that has been done unto you, think about why it made you upset Think about how you can regulate that the next time it happens, and think about what you can learn so that the next time it may happen, you don't react in the same way. We read the entry once more. It is essential for you to remember that the attention you give to any action should be in due proportion to its worth, for then you won't tire and give up if you aren't busying yourself with lesser things beyond what should be allowed. That's it.